Hello children, welcome back to English with Kashish. Today we are going to finish your supplementary reading. This is the last chapter of your English supplementary reading, part 2. So this is the bird of happiness. It's a Tibetan folk tale. It tells us about happiness and when can you be happiness. Now tell me something children. You can measure your dress, you can measure the feet of your house, the square feet, in centimeter, in meter. There are a lot of these geometric terms to measure. Can you measure how happy you are? Can you measure how sad you are? Can you measure how loved you are? Or can you measure how angry you are? Can you tell in these many numbers I am happy, in these many numbers I am sad? No, we can't, isn't it? So emotions, love, happiness, sadness, anger cannot be measured. We can't have a strong number that this much I am happy or this much I am sad, isn't it? Also another thing is money. Can money buy all the happiness in the world? Have you seen a small little child? He's always happy. Does he have all the money? No, but he's still happy. An adult who has lots of money, I think he's the most depressed and always anxious. So money not always brings happiness. Always remember that. Okay. There are hardships in life. After that you see the good things in life. So till you don't experience bad incidents or things in your life, you will never be able to be happy. You will not know the feeling of happiness if you have not experienced the feeling of sadness. Okay, so before we begin this beautiful Tibetan folk tale, I am going to tell you a small story about a father and a son. So a father wanted to teach his boy a lesson. So he said, I am going to take him to a village and let him see how these village people live. So they both got into the train and they went into a village, and in the village they stayed in a friend's house, a farmer's house. So they spent 3 days there. And they were coming back in the train. So the father asked the son, Beta, tell me, how did you enjoy it? Did you see how poor they are? Do you see their life? How they are living? So the son says, Papa, no, I am so thankful to you that you actually made me realize how poor I am. So father asked, how do you say that? So he says, Papa, we have a small pool in the house. They have the whole river to play with, isn't it? But, so he said that we have only limited light. They have the whole sky towards them. We have to go and buy food, isn't it? We go to the grocery store and buy food. They are growing food. They have ample of food and they have everything organic. It's so beautiful. We have 2 dogs. They have so many dogs. We have only this much house, such a small house. They have the whole land to themselves. They are so lucky. They are so rich. In fact, I am feeling poor in front of them. So isn't that great? Wasn't it a beautiful lesson to learn from? What you have, be happy and grateful with it. Have a gratitude of that in your heart. Always be thankful to God for whatever He has given you. Okay? Great, done. So let's start the chapter, The Bird of Happiness. This is by Liu Jude. It's a very beautiful Tibetan folk tale. So Liu Jude, we'll read about him first. He is a Mongolian Asian modern and contemporary artist who was born in 1946. Their work was featured in exhibitions at the China Institute Gallery and the National Art Museum of China. Liu Jude's work has been offered at auction multiple times, with realized prices ranging from $10,634 US to $80,529 US, depending on the size and medium of the artwork. Since 2012, the record price of this artist at auction is $80,529 for landscape, sold at Poly International Auction in 2014. So the Bird of Happiness, I am going to read the summary before the chapter so that you can understand it with me. It's a folk tale about the people of poor area in the Tibet who, despite their unimaginable hardships, firmly believed that happiness existed somewhere in the world. The old folks believed that happiness was a beautiful bird living in a snowy mountain far away in the east. However, many people who went in search of the bird never returned, increasing the mystery surrounding the bird. It was said that the bird was guarded by how many monsters? 3 old monsters, and we're going to meet these monsters there, who could kill a man by simply blowing through their long beards. So, when Wangsha, a bright boy, was chosen to undertake the task, what task? To get the bird of happiness, people wished him by offering him a number of things for the way. Wangsha started his journey walking eastwards. There were 3 phases to his journey, and in every phase Wangsha hardships increased. In the first phase, when Wangsha refused to carry out the command of the first monster to kill Losang's mother, the smooth road turned into a vast screen, and every stone on it was as sharp as a knife. After the first 100 miles, the soles of Wangsha boots were ripped apart by the stones. Okay, this is the first stage of his people, that he would bring with him the bird of happiness, but what did he remember? That he'll bring the bird of happiness. At last, Wangsha's determination and goodness were answered when he found the bird of happiness, and the birds spoke very, very gently to him. As soon as the bird of happiness caressed Wangsha gently, his eyeballs flew back to their sockets, and he could see much more brightly than before. All his wounds were healed, and he was much stronger than ever. As I told you, after hardships, success tastes great. Thus, magical changes came over Wangsha as the bird of happiness caressed him. It took him back to his place and asked him what he wanted. Instead of asking anything for himself, Wangsha replied that his people wanted warmth and happiness, forests and flowers and rivers, because it was a very sad area, no? The bird of happiness gave 3 cries, and with the first cry, the golden sun broke through the clouds and a warm breeze came down from the sky. At the second cry, stretch upon stretch of forests appeared all over the mountains. Mountain peach and other mountain flowers bloomed together, and thrushes and larks led a chorus of bird song. That means, in a Tibetan manner, the whole area where he lived became very, very beautiful. At the third cry, green rivers and fields came into view, and little white rabbits danced merrily on the grass. Children, if all of you imagine whatever has come, doesn't it give you a beautiful picture? That's the picture of happiness. Okay? From all this, it's clear that happiness means being blessed by nature to enjoy the natural pleasures of nature. Whenever you are in between nature, it gives you a sense of happiness, a very positive sense of happiness, right? Whenever there is nature around you. If you are living somewhere where there is not even one single tree, you will always be sad. So Wangsha's dream came true. Now, let's start the story. In ancient days, there was a very poor area in Tibet which had no rivers or good land, no warmth of fresh flowers, no trees, no green grass. It was very, very sad. The people who lived there suffered from hunger and cold all year round and did not know what happiness was like. They were always depressed and sad because there was no nature around them. Despite this, they still believed that happiness must exist somewhere in the world. Despite means in spite of. They were very unhappy, they were very depressed, they lived in a very bad area, but still in their heart they felt that there is a bird of happiness which lives somewhere. The old folk used to say that happiness was a beautiful bird living on a snowy mountain far, far away in the east. What did they think? The old people, how in our here also old people have a different thinking, right? We should do all good things, otherwise bad things will happen later. So exactly like that, they thought there is a bird of happiness who lives in the east. Okay? Where she lives? In a snowy mountain far in the east. Wherever the bird flew, happiness went with it, because it was the bird of happiness. It spread happiness everywhere. Every year people went to look for this bird. So every year people would go because they wanted happiness. They would go to look for the bird, but none of them ever did return. None of them returned. It was a mystery. Where did they go? The bird of happiness was said to be guarded by 3 old monsters. The bird of happiness was guarded by 3 old monsters who could kill a man by simply blowing through their long beards. They had long beard, and simply by blowing the beard they could kill a man. They had that kind of energy. Once an extremely bright boy called Wangsha was sent to find the bird of happiness. Wangsha went to find the bird of happiness. On his departure, the girls of the village offered him barley wine. You know, when you go for an exam, how mama will do? She'll take out your aarti and she'll put some rice on you, she'll do kumkum to you, and she gives you a nice lunch box with healthy meal. Yeah, so just like that, they also did. What did they give him? Barley wine. And all the mothers, in accordance with Tibetan culture and custom, spread barley grains on his head to wish him good journey. Like how we do rice, we put little rice on our head for good luck, they do barley. So that's exactly what they did. Wangsha walked eastwards for many days until he saw ahead of him a large mountain. He saw the large mountain covered with snow that shone like silver. Just at that moment, an old monster with a black beard appeared in his path. So this is the first monster. The first monster was with the black beard. Okay. "Who goes there?" he cried like a crow. "How dare you come here? What are you after?" Who was that? The first monster. He was crying like a crow. Okay. "My name is Wangsha and I have come to look for the bird of happiness." What did the boy say? "My name is Wangsha and I am here to look for the bird of happiness." "Ha ha!" laughed the old monster. "How could you, a little child like you, no longer than an egg, dare to set foot here? You're so small, you're not even out of your egg, and such a small boy, you've come here. If you want to find the bird of happiness, first you must kill Losang's mother, otherwise you will be punished." So he said, if you want to go see the bird of happiness, you have to kill Losang's mother. Now did he agree? "I don't need to do anything myself in order to kill a puny, that means a small little thing like you. I'll just make you walk 900 miles across Cree and you'll be done for." That means he said, I don't have to do anything to kill you, right? Puny is small, you're so small, I don't have to kill you. Scree, that means an area of small loose stones. There was an area where there were a lot of these small stones. You will have to walk 900 miles on those stones to go there, and then you'll be done for. That means you'll be dead. That means you're gone. If you walk on these loose stones for a long time, how will you survive? Your feet will start hurting, isn't it? So after that, Wangsha replied, "I love my own mother and I'll never kill another person." So he said, "I love my mother. How will I kill anyone else's mother? I can't do it." So he said, "No, I'm not going to kill anyone." Wangsha said, "Do as you please." The old monster flew into a rage. He got angry and he said, okay, do what you want." He immediately began to blow through his beard, and in the twinkling of an eye, the smooth road became a vast screen. Every stone on it was as sharp as a knife. As he said, "I will not do anything, I'll turn the road into sharp stones." Exactly what he did. He blew through his beard and the smooth road converted into a road of sharp stones like knife. After the first 100 miles, the soles of Wangsha's boots were ripped apart by the stones. That soles are your bottom surface of the foot. Like this is your foot, this is the sole of the foot. You walk with your sole on the ground, isn't it? So after 100 miles, Wangsha's sole were bruised very badly. It was so painful for him. Ripped apart, they got ripped apart. That means they got pulled apart. He was in a lot of pain because he was walking on the stones which were like knives. After the second 100 miles, his feet were cut into pieces. So sad for a little boy. And after the third 100 miles, his hands were torn into shreds. He was pulled up, he shredded so he was taking help of his hands to walk now, and after 300 miles his hands also were shredded into pieces. So sad. This is tough going, he thought to himself. Obviously one thought will come in his mind, no, it's tough, I can't do it. Will I ever make it? Will I ever succeed? Will I be able to see the bird of happiness? The boy was thinking in his mind. Had I better turn back now? Should I just go back now? I think I should just go back. I should not do it. Then he said, no, never. He could not bring himself to turn back. He knew that the people at home were waiting for him to bring back happiness. He said, okay, I'll turn. But no, everyone behind, my house, my village, everyone is waiting for me to get back happiness. How do I go without giving them that? I really can't do it. Wangsha lay on the ground and began to crawl. That means he moved slowly now because he was in a lot of pain. He moved forward. His clothes were torn. His knees and shoulders were bruised. Bruised means hurt. Finally, he reached the end of the journey. And there he found another old monster. So one monster is clear. Now is the second monster. He had a brown beard and a voice like the whistling wind. How does the whistling wind go? Whoo, like that, no? Like that his voice was. First one was like a crow. And what did he ask for? He asked for mother, right? Luang's mother, which he said no. And he converted the road to sharp stones. Let's see the second one. What does he do? He was waiting for him. If you want to see the bird of happiness, howled the monster. That means he cried like a wolf. He cried like a wolf. His voice was like a wolf. First one was like a crow. The second one was like a wolf. You must poison old Gaffer Shillong first. Who's old Gaffer Shillong? An enemy of the second monster. The second monster had an enemy. He is old Gaffer Shillong, like a grandfather type of person. He said, first you have to kill him and then you can go. If you won't do it, I'll starve you to death. Everything, nothing you'll get to eat. You will die hungry. Looking at him defiantly, that means refusing to obey. Obviously, the little boy was looking at him. I don't want to listen to what you're saying. Wangsha replied, you can shout for all you are worth. Shout how much ever you want. Whatever you can do, you do. But I am fond of my own grandpa and I'll never kill another man's. First he said, I'm fond of my mama. Now he says, I'm fond of my grandpa. How can I kill someone else's? I will not do it. In a fury, the old monster blew through his long beard. He also got angry and he also started doing the same. And Wangsha's bread bag flew into the sky. The food bag that he was carrying, it flew into the sky. So already Wangsha was hurt, his hands, legs, everything was bleeding. Now he didn't even have food to eat. Before his eyes, the blue mountains and green rivers were turned into a boundless desert with not a scrap of food to be found. So boundless is having no limit. So in front of him at this moment were beautiful green rivers and blue mountains. In a jiffy, what did he do? He converted them into a scrap, not a scrap of food also was there. He converted them into a desert and with no food at all. Okay, not a bit of food. So even when he was going, he could not pluck and eat anything. It was a desert. From this, it became this. Okay, from blue mountains and green rivers, it became boundless desert with no scrap of food. He was so hungry that he was there was sharp pain in his guts as if they were being cut by a knife. So in his stomach, he was feeling a kind of pain which felt like someone is cutting his stomach. Anyone who has ever starved knows what he suffered. Wangsha went to a river, drank plenty of cold water and continued on his way. So anyone who has actually starved, who's not got food for a long time, like a beggar, or someone who's on the road, he knows what kind of pain he would have gone through. So he had some cold water from the river and started moving on. By the time he reached his journey's end, he was nothing but skin and bone. So by the time he reached his journey's end, this particular journey's end, he was only skin and bone. There was no flesh because he had not eaten anything. There in his path stood another old monster with a white beard. So these are the three different monsters descriptions, okay? And what reckless fool has dared to come here? That means unmindful of the risks. You don't know where you're coming. It is so risky and dangerous to come here. Who is this who's come here? He thundered. Thundered means like a thunder. He said his voice was like a thunder. My name is Wangsha and I have come here to look for the bird of happiness. Wangsha said very politely. If you want to see the bird of happiness, you must bring me Bhima's eyeballs. If you dare to say no, I'll gouge out your eyeballs at once. What is gouge out? That means to force out the eye of a person with one's thumb. How you remove something like this, no? Gouge out, like that. He said, I need whose? I need Bhima's eyeballs. If you don't get that, I will take off your eyeballs. What is at once? Without wasting any time. At once I'm going to do this. So what is the third command? To get Bhima's eyeballs. Wangsha bowed his head and thought for a while. Then he answered, you must be dreaming. No one has the right to destroy a girl's pretty eyes. I'll never gouge Bhima's eyes. Who can destroy a girl's pretty eyes? I am never going to do it. So who's Bhima? That's a girl's name. Okay, Bhima is a girl. So he wanted Bhima's eyeballs. He said, no, I'm not going to remove some beautiful girl's eyeball and all that. So the old monster screamed with rage. Rage is? Yes, anger. He immediately began to blow through his long beard, and Wangsha's eyeballs jumped out of their sockets and he became blind. Oh my God. So imagine his eyeballs also came out. He was hungry to anything. He was only skin and bone. His feet were paining. His hands were paining. He was in a lot of pain. And on top of that, he was blind. He had not eaten anything. He couldn't even see anything now. Will Wangsha see the bird of happiness? Let's find out. I'm feeling bad for him. So sad. This must be the last ordeal. That means this must be the last plan, he thought. I must keep going in the direction of the rising sun. He could see the rising sun. He said, I think this is the last. I knew that there were 3 monsters and I have finished crossing them. I should just go towards the rising sun. That must be the place where the birds of happiness lives. Groping his way with his hands on the ground, that means he was moving as if in the dark because he couldn't see anything. His eyeballs were not there, so he was going in the dark. Wangsha crawled another 900 miles without eating, without seeing, with lot of pain. He clambered to the peak of a snow-covered mountain. Clambered means climbed up. So use this. Don't just say climbed up in your conversations with your friends. Say clambered up, okay? Try to use these in your verbal communications, kids. It's very, very nice. Okay, we are doing lot of words in English. Try using all of them. What will you say instead of climbing up? You will say clambered. Alright. And there he heard the voice of the bird of happiness. Yes, he could hear her now. Isn't it wonderful when after so much of struggle you finally see the success? It is. My lovely child, have you come here for me? He was just hearing the monsters for some time, and now he hears the bird, the beautiful bird of happiness. Overwhelmed with joy, Wangsha replied, yes, I have. My people long to see you day and night. Please come back with me. He says that bird of happiness, everyone in my village want to see you. Please, will you come back with me? The bird of happiness caressed. What is caressed? Touched gently with love. So what does your parent, mama or papa do to you when they touch you? Caress. They touch you with lot of love. So that's called they caressed. Okay? They caressed Wangsha gently with its wings and sang for him. The way she was singing, it was beautiful. His eyeballs flew back to their sockets, and now he saw much more brightly than before. He could see her. All his wounds were healed, and he was stronger than ever. The bird of happiness offered Wangsha some dried meat and cream cake, and then bore him back to his home village. She gave him food to eat, she healed all the wounds, and then she took him back to the village. They landed on a mountain top. What is it that you want? Asked the bird of happiness. Wangsha said, we want warmth and happiness, forests and flowers, fields and rivers, basically nature. They wanted nature to be there. Standing on the mountain top, the bird of happiness gave 3 loud cries. Now the 3 loud cries gave what? At the first cry, the golden sun broke through the clouds. You could see the sun out. It was so beautiful. A warm breeze came down from the sky. How you feel when you're standing in the hot sun, a warm breeze going across, they felt that. At the second cry, stretch upon stretch of forests appeared all over the mountains. Mountain peach, that means mountain fruit. It's a particular kind of fruit, right? Peach. And other mountain flowers bloomed together, and thrushes and larks led to a chorus of bird song. That means a kind of bird. It's a kind of bird. So many birds also came. So birds, mountains, gardens, rivers, everything, and sun. At the third cry, green rivers and fields came into view, and little white rabbits danced merrily on the grass. From that day on, the people in that poor place never, ever, ever suffered hardships again, because they were now living amidst nature, and that's the most beautiful thing ever, isn't it? So I just want to say one thing, children. Did you see the hardships he went through? Yes, so many hardships, one after the other. But after every hardship, at the end, he became stronger. He lost his eyes, but then when he got his eyesight back, he had a better eyesight. He was fully bruised and in a lot of pain, but when he healed, he was much more stronger. Yes, isn't it? And he got a much better, he had got something else, but he got much more better to eat. So when you go through struggles in life, when you go through bad times in your life, you will turn out to be stronger than what you were before. So don't lose hope. Never ever lose hope. If you fail, if you didn't get this interview, if you didn't get this test cleared, it's okay. It's okay. You'll do it much better the next time. Don't feel bad. Don't feel sad. Turn out to be a stronger. You've seen a diamond, right? The more you shine the diamond, the more expensive it becomes. So that's how it is. You all are like shining, glittering diamonds. So don't lose hope ever, ever, ever. Hardships only give you good times. Now we have gone through this COVID time, a lot of difficult time, but we got to know our worth. We got to know where we stand. We got to know our value. We got to know how we should save, how the time is so important. So learn from your experiences. Don't feel bad and don't take out negativity in every situation. Be the problem solver, not the problem giver. Be the solution to every problem and not the creator of the problems. This is just what I would like to tell you. Okay, so we will do now the question answers. So the question 1, all the questions are on page number 199. Will I ever make it? Why did Wangsha feel so? In the first phase of the journey itself, Wangsha faced insurmountable difficulties. That means innumerable difficulties. The smooth road had turned into a vast scree, and every stone on it was very, very sharp as a knife. After the first 100 miles, the soles of Wangsha boots were ripped apart by the stones. Okay, so after the first 100 miles, he was feeling he should just go back. After the second 100 miles, his feet were cut into pieces, and after the third 100 miles, his hands were torn into shreds. Since the going was so tough, Wangsha had moments of doubt, and he wondered if he would ever make it. Question 2. What hardships did Wangsha undergo on his way to find the bird? Lot of hardships, isn't it? There were 3 phases to his journey, and every phase Wangsha hardships increased. In the first phase, when Wangsha refused to carry out the command of the first monster to kill Longsan's mother, the smooth road turned into a vast scree, and every stone on it was like a sharp knife. So the first was what? The first monster, okay? And at that time, the road, you should remember the road. After the first 100 miles, the soles of Wangsha boots were ripped apart by the stones. After the second 100 miles, his feet were cut into pieces. After the third 100 miles, his hands were torn to shreds. Since the going was so tough, Wangsha had moments of doubt, and he was wondering if he would ever make it. In the second phase, the second monster, when Wangsha refused to obey the second monster's command to poison old Gaffer's shillong, the monster blew away Wangsha bread bag and turned the blue mountain and green rivers into boundless desert. Food. The second was food. The first was road. The second was food. Remember the term so you will be able to explain better. Okay. With no food to be found anywhere. Wangsha travelled 300 miles without food, with his head reeling as if you're just about to faint. You'll fall. and with sharp pain in his guts, as if they were being cut by a knife. This was not all. The last phase of his journey was even worse. There were 3 monsters, 3 phases. First was road, second was food, third was when Wangsha refused to carry out the command of the third monster to bring Bhima's eyeballs, the monster gouged out Wangsha's eyeballs. Road, food, eyeballs. The rest of the journey had to be carried out by Wangsha in the blind state. He groped his way with his hands on the ground, yet he continued his journey resolutely in the direction of the sun, as he believed that the bird must be in a place in that direction just when he was seeing the sunlight. You know, when you are even going through a race and you lose hope just at the before the end, and you're like, no, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. My head is reeling. I can't do it. And then you see the finishing line. You can see the finishing line there. That's when your spirits arouse. You like, okay, I am going to do it. I can see the ray of sunshine. I can see the finishing line. And then you get little more strength, isn't it? All this Wangsha did because he honored his promise to his people, and he remembered the hope of his people that he would take the bird of happiness. Question 3. What changes came over Wangsha as the bird of happiness caressed him? What happened to Wangsha when she caressed him? She touched with his feathers with love. As soon as the bird of happiness caressed Wangsha gently, his eyeballs flew back to their sockets. Positive, he could now see much better, much brightly before he could see. All his wounds were healed and he was again positive, stronger than ever, could see better. Thus, magical changes came over Wangsha as the bird of happiness caressed him. Question 4. Wangsha was face to face with 3 monsters. Each monster had his own wish. Wangsha too had a wish. What contrast do you draw between the wishes of the monster and the wishes of Wangsha? What does this folk tale suggest with its contrast? So the answer is, the first monster wanted Wangsha to kill Losang's mother. Wangsha refused to obey the monster, saying that he loved his mother and he would never kill someone else's mother. The second monster wanted Wangsha to poison old Gaffer Shillong. Again, Wangsha reply was in the negative. He said, Wangsha defied the monster in the face, saying that he loved his own grandpa so much and he wouldn't kill the grandfather of anyone else. The third monster wanted Wangsha to bring Bhima's eyeballs if he wanted to see the bird of happiness. Again, Wangsha refused to add that no one had the right to destroy a girl's pretty eyes. So thus, every wicked, bad, negative wish of the monsters was refused by Wangsha. If the monsters represent the destructive element in the world, Wangsha stood for the constructive, okay, for the constructive spirit, for the positive spirit. He did not go for the negative, he went for the positive spirit. The story shows that when one stands for good and what is right, one comes across many obstacles and hardships. But if one has the strength of character and the power of conviction, one can overcome all hurdles and reach one's destination. So if you have the power in you, if you know you're right, you can go through any struggle in life. Now read the paragraph 1 and the paragraph 28 and 29. What do you understand from them about the meaning of real happiness? What is real happiness? Is it only about money? Let's see. So the lesson clearly shows that when one is blessed with the bounty of nature, one will be happy. Happiness is not depicted as the possession of material wealth. In the first paragraph, it is given that the people of the poor area in Tibet suffered from hunger and cold, as the place had no rivers or good land, right? So if you have no rivers or good land, even your food is not there provided. If you have good nature around you, your food, wealth, health, everything is taken care of. No warmth or fresh flowers, no trees or green grass. If you have beautiful smelling flowers around you, you feel happy. You have a lot of trees giving you pure oxygen, you feel healthy. In paragraph 28 and 29, we see that Wangsha asks for warmth and happiness, forests and flowers, fields and rivers. In paragraph 29 also, we see that the bird of happiness gave 3 cries. With the first cry, remember this, okay, very important. First you have to remember the monsters, their wishes and what did Wangsha do. The second you have to remember what the bird gave. With the first cry, what did she give? The golden sun broke through the clouds and a warm breeze came down from the sky. Now close your eyes, imagine the sunlight coming out and the warm breeze. That's the first thing given, okay? At the second cry, stretch upon stretch of forest appeared all over the mountains. Mountain peach and other mountain flowers bloomed together, and thrushes and larks led a chorus of bird song. So basically mountains, flowers, mountains, mountain peach, forest, second wish. Okay? And the third cry, green rivers and fields came into view, and little white rabbits danced merrily on the grass. After these details, it is also given that the people of the place never suffered hardships again. From all this, it's clear that happiness means being blessed by nature to enjoy the natural pleasures of nature. Question 6. What do you like the most in the story? Support your answer by giving reasons. What do you like the most about the story? Tell me, kids. I want you all to comment and tell me. I really wish I could talk to you, I could come and speak to you, and I could hear your views in all the chapters that we are doing together. So according to our view, we like Wangsha the most in the story. He was so young to take such a big risk. We like his selfless hard work. He did a great task for the benefit of his people. He was not selfish. He faced many hardships during his task. He didn't care about his life also. To work for others is really a good job. Everyone will appreciate his work. And all these chapters that I've done, I've seen so many people who have done so much for others. Yes. So read the story and discuss with your partner. Fill the table below. Let's start filling it. This is a very simple table. If you want, you can pause the video and take a snapshot. It will help you in your exams, and neatly draw it in your notebook. Okay. I'm going to explain the table to you also. What was the first monster? What was his wish? To kill Lao Sang's mother. What did he say? I love my mother and I will never kill another person's mother. What did the second monster say? Poison old Gaffer Long. What did Wangsha say? He was fond of his grandpa and he will never kill another grandfather. What did the third monster want? To bring Bhima's eyeballs. And what did he get? No one has the right to destroy a girl's pretty eyes. He never gorges Bhima's eyes. So the monsters. And what did Wangsha say? We want to lead a happy life. What according to you can make us happy? What do you think makes you the most happy? Some ways are suggested below. Think about whether they are practicable or impracticable, means doable or not doable. Will it give you happiness or will it not give you happiness? Discuss and write them under the 2 columns appropriately. Now I am going to read all these for you and then you can tell me. Working hard to satisfy everybody's wants, giving up all your selfish desires, striking a balance between selfishness and sacrifice, working together for the God of all, good of all, leading a simple and contented life, devoting some time of the day for the good for others. Okay? Are these all doable? Yes, I think they are all doable. So practicable are working together for the good of all. You can do that. Leading an example, if you live happily, you will tell others also that, oh my God, look at them, he's so happy. And they will also start living happily. Devoting some time for the day of the good for others. You should always do good, be it animal or plant or your friends or family or nature, be good to everyone. And what is little difficult? Working hard to satisfy everybody's wants. Don't think that you can make everyone happy. You can't. You really can't. You're not a robot. You're a human. You can't always keep making people happy. You be happy. Everyone else will be happy around you. By giving up all selfish desires, you can't always give up all your desires. You would also want to do something for yourself. Always do it. Please follow your passion. Okay? Striking a balance between selfishness and sacrifice. So there is a difference between the sacrifice and selfishness. You have to understand that difference. Okay? So we move on with the end of the chapter, the bird of happiness. And I want to be the bird to see all my children happy. Be happy, face your struggles strongly, come out as a different person, as a very contented person. Okay? Live a simple life. And money doesn't matter. Money will come, it will go. But you be happy. Okay, with this we finish this chapter, the bird of happiness. I'll see you soon with another chapter. Bye-bye.